to the UIAAA Connection podcast. GoFan and VNN are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the UIAAA Connection. Now a combined company, GoFan and VNN provide a seamless integration for digital ticketing and athletic websites. Direct your fans to one place for all your athletic events, communications, and tickets to home and away games. Thank you to GoFan and VNN for their exclusive sponsorship of the UIAAA Connection.
Welcome back to another edition of the UIAAA Connection. I'm your host, Mark Hutch Hunter. Today we have as our special guest, Tammie Talley, Certified Athletic Administrator, the Director of Athletics for Duval County Public Schools, 42 schools in all. That's a big assignment. Welcome to the podcast, Tammie.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I appreciate it.
Let's have you begin by sharing with our audience where you grew up, where you went to school, your first job, those types of things.
Oh, thank you very much. So yeah, I am actually from Jacksonville, Florida. I was born here. In middle school, my family moved to Crescent City, a little small town in mid to North Florida. And I played volleyball, basketball, and softball at Crescent City High School. I got a volleyball scholarship and went on to play volleyball down at Indian River Community College in Fort Pierce. Came back up to Jacksonville, and FSCJ had started a volleyball program. So I was on the first team for that volleyball, for that college at that volleyball, at that school, and then finished up my college career at the University of North Florida. And so that's kind of just a little bit about me. Just grew up playing sports. I was an only child until I was 16. So all of my brothers and sisters were the people that I went to high school with and played sports with. And then my mom had a baby at 16. And so then I had a little sister that I could play with.
That's awesome. Let's have you talk for a minute about your time playing youth sports and maybe some of the memories you have of that.
Yes, so many memories playing high school and middle school sports. Back in the 80s when I grew up, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for females. So at that time when I was younger, I loved just to play softball. But in my little town, there was not a team for girls. So I played on the baseball team, and I was actually the catcher. And kind of a funny story. The official was doing prior to one of our games, the official was doing some equipment check with everybody and wanted, just to make sure that, he did a little cup check with me as the catcher. And I pulled off my helmet with my long blonde curls and he apologized, and so we didn't have to do that equipment check. But that was kind of a little funny story. I think when I was in 6th or 7th grade and playing baseball with all the fellas as the catcher.
That's perfect. That's funny. Thanks for sharing that. Let's have you talk for a minute about some of the mentors that you've had in your life early on in your career and later as an AD that have made a difference and impact on you.
Yeah, so my high school volleyball coach was probably one of the most instrumental mentors that I had growing up and still to this day. Her name is Holly Pickens. She was my high school volleyball coach at Crescent City High School. She was also a PE teacher, and she coached multiple sports at my school. And I just really looked up to her as a high school student, as an athlete. She was instrumental in making sure that I went on to college and played volleyball. And then even as I was in college and playing sports and then became a high school teacher and an athletic director and a coach, I always looked to her as a mentor because she just molded me as not only a student athlete, but as a person and as a woman and a contributing member to society. as I got into college, Mary Andrew was one of my college volleyball coaches, and I really looked up to her as well, serving her community here in Jacksonville and starting the Jacksonville Juniors volleyball program and coaching in that program and having my daughters play in that program. Both of those women were just instrumental for me, not only as a female, but as a coach and as a mentor to other females. And then I would probably say are just colleagues that I work with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's on board of directors with the FIAAA, whether it's serving the FHSAA here in Florida, our state athletic association, just being around other individuals that have the same job or a similar job that I do, learning from them is, really the great experience and mentors in my later career of an athletic administrator.
Perfect. Let me ask you this, and I've been to Jacksonville a couple of times. As I remember, before I get into the city proper, there's signs way out in the country entering Jacksonville. So is Jacksonville pretty much all of Duval County, or is there part of the county that's not, or are they just one and the same?
Nope, that they are one and the same. You hit the nail on the head. The entire Duval County is all encompasses Jacksonville, Florida, which I think there's some stat where the largest city square miles, because our county and our city is all exactly the same.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for setting the guy out west straight with his geography. Let me ask you this little bit of a personal question. Tammie, what's your biggest failure or disappointment in life, and what did you learn from it?
More so in life or as like an athletic administrator?
Either or.
So I would probably say as an athletic administrator, it has been in our particular county, our athletic directors are not administrators. They are full-time teachers that teach a full load. And so they get a supplement to be an athletic director. Their full-time job is to be a full-time teacher. So it's teaching 4 or 5 classes a day. And then after that full day is over, then they're the athletic director, even though they have duties and responsibilities during the day as an athletic director. So we've been working really hard in our county to move our athletic directors from that full-time teaching position to a position where they have a little more flexibility, where they're not full-time teachers. And so we're not there yet. So I would say I've failed in reaching that goal. Also, just the pay for coaches is not where it needs to be, not only in Florida, but across the entire across the entire country. And so trying to find creative ways that coaches can have increased supplements because they work so many hours for so little pay. And we're just losing coaches because of that. To Boys and Girls Club, after school activities where they can make a whole lot more money than they can coaching. And so probably professionally, those would be 2 of the things that I am still working towards. I won't say it's a failure yet because my career is not over yet, but it's definitely two goals that I have not accomplished.
Perfect. Some great insight. Thank you for sharing that. Let's delve in a little bit now to your educational career and how you got to become the director of athletics for the entire county, because I'm sure you didn't get that job on day one.
No, I did not. My athletic administrator career started really the first year I became a high school teacher. I did my internship here in Jacksonville at a high school called Andrew Jackson. And I served underneath some great directing teachers and had some great mentors that were coaches. And then I got my first teaching job in the fall of 1992 at Paxson High School. And I was the only female in physical education when I was hired. So I, by default, became the assistant athletic director. And back during those days, it was called the coeducational coordinator. Basically, all the females did the paperwork for athletic administrators, and then the males were the athletic directors when I was hired. And halfway through that year, my athletic director got ill. And again, by default, I was the assistant AD. So I became the high school athletic director in my first year of teaching. So I coached girls volleyball. I think that year I coached track, and I was the assistant AD for the first half of the year and the AD the second half of the year interim. And then the next year, our athletic director didn't come back. So I just became the athletic director. So I stayed at that school for 6 years. Again, AD, volleyball coach, ended up bringing girls flag football to the county and coached girls flag football for a few years. After 6 years at Paxson, I transferred to Mandarin High School, which at the time was the largest high school in Duval County public schools, and was the athletic director there for 14 years. I also coached girls volleyball there. I coached girls flag football. I was a student activities director and led through some leadership classes. And then after 14 years at Mandarin High School, the county athletic director retired, and I applied for the position, and there were actually quite a few applicants. And I really thought that they were going to go outside of the district just because that AD had been in that position for 14 years. And so, just not knowing what the makeup was going to be. But I was very fortunate enough 13 years ago to become the district's county athletic director. And that's kind of the history of my career, from becoming a high school teacher, assistant AD, high school AD at 2 different schools, and now the county athletic director.
That's perfect. Thanks for sharing with us. Let's talk about the job of athletic administrator and how it is different from when you first took the job, 92. So that's over 30 years ago.
Yeah. How long do we have, Hutch?
We have as long as you need.
Because it has changed. I mean,
Yeah.
from technology, just like emails and cell phones, right? To
Hmm.
social media, and NIL, all the way fast forward to NIL today, and back when, we were wearing the same uniforms for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And now kids are, signing shoe deals and stuff like that. So it has just changed significantly. The student athletes, though, I don't think they've changed at all. I feel like our student athletes, they want to learn the game that they love. They want to have structure. They want to have mentors. They want to build some team camaraderie and do things with their teammates. And I love that aspect of athletics. At the 33 years that I've been in sports and athletics, I don't feel our student athletes have changed, but definitely the makeup of athletics across those years have, through technology and social media and paying players to play. It's been a lot, for sure. There's been a lot of changes for the good and not so good sometimes.
Sure. Let's talk now about your journey with the FIAAA. Obviously, how you became involved then, and then how you became involved with the NIAAA, and then maybe talk about, at least to me, some of the famous FIA people that I know, all the way back to Ron Balaz. We've got Andy. Obviously, we talked about Dan Talbot, who was out here in Utah last year, Dr. Jake, Atlantis, Lauren. I mean, the list goes on. I'm sure I've forgotten some people, so forgive me when you hear this, but talk a little bit about that.
Well, you've definitely named some of the great mentors in our state organization, for sure. But I started attending FIAAA clinics back when I was at Paxson. There was an athletic director at Baldwin High School who was involved in the FIAAA. His name was Bo Galloway, and he got me involved. He was like, Talley, you need to come to our state association clinics. There's some really good professional development. So back in the 90s, I started attending the clinics. They were in Orlando at the Marriott airport. I think a couple of them were at Greenleaf and a few places down south in Fort Myers. And then I became involved as a board member and sat on the board for many years. I now serve as the association's secretary. And in between all of that, I was very fortunate to be able to chair a lot of committees. The committee that I'm most proud of that I currently chair is the Higher Ed Committee. It is our Mandy Stoll Scholarship, where we give 10 scholarships to student athletes across the state of Florida. And we also assist the NIAAA in their scholarship by promoting that scholarship as well. So that's kind of been like my FIAAA journey. And then obviously being a part of my state association, it's very important to be involved on the national level as well. So trying to attend those national conferences, as well as, presenting at state conferences. And I was recently fortunate enough to be able to contribute to one of the newer LTI courses, the leadership training courses, 718, which is titled Leading the Athletic Department Through Tragic Events. So I collaborated with Dan Talbot and all of the authors of that course, and then took it at the took it back in Austin, and then was able to teach it in our first clinic, our last clinic in May that we just hosted here in Florida. So it's been quite a journey for sure over 30 years.
That is awesome. Small world. So Pastor Rob Araki from Hawaii was on your
He was.
staff.
Yep.
So coincidentally, so regular listeners of the show, obviously, they'll be listening to this on a Friday, and the week before we had Pastor Rob, who just got through talking about 718. So go figure.
Interesting. It is a small world.
Yeah. So talk for a minute about well, I say the recent NIAAA conference in Austin, but obviously it's been 7 months. But talk about your experience there. Talk maybe a little bit more about 718 when you rolled it out, and just how great it is to attend a national conference.
It is really great is an understatement to be able to attend a national conference, to be able to travel all over the country and hear from other athletic administrators that are having almost the same exact issues that we have, dealing with the same problems and having the same successes that we are across the country, and to be able to collaborate with them, to partner with them, to network with them so that we can grow what we're doing in our particular county or our state is just phenomenal. People who do not attend state or national conferences are really missing out on professional development and growing in their own craft as, whatever job that they are, whether it's a coach or an athletic director and everything in between. But all of the conferences that I've attended have been just phenomenal in helping me to grow. And I've been very fortunate to be a part of several of the host committees. We hosted in Orlando a couple of years ago. Now we're going to be hosting in Tampa and serving with Lauren and Lannis and Dan and Val on those host committees has been a phenomenal experience for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk for a minute about, I want to phrase this correctly. I want you to talk about being a successful woman AD, only because, it's still a male-dominated area, even though we're getting more females into it, certainly more than 10 years ago or 15 years. But to have someone like yourself that has been such a success, talk about how good it's been, or talk about maybe some of the struggles having to deal with maybe some of the Neanderthal males that don't want to accept the new way.
Well, I try to look at my job as an athletic director as just doing that, doing the best job that I can to serve my coaches, to provide some positive student athlete experiences. Not the fact that, I'm a woman or I'm not a man, right? So, but it has been rewarding to be able to be honored to be. I was the first female president for the Florida Athletic Coaches Association, which started in the early 1900s, and so to be able to be the first president of that organization in the state, and then to have other females that are following in my footsteps or wanting to do things similar to how I have done them, to kind of pave that way has really been nice. I used to think that it was like not that big of a deal. I was a female, it didn't matter. I was an athletic director and I was just trying to do the best job that I could do. It didn't matter that I was a female. But now knowing that I'm at the end of my career and seeing the things that I've done and hearing from younger female administrators that they look up to me and see me as a role model, that has been very inspirational. And I'm just kind of kick myself sometimes that I didn't embrace it more as a younger athletic director as much as I do now.
Thanks for sharing that. Let's ask you, what's the favorite part of your job, Tammie?
I guess obviously the celebrations, right? The national signing days are extremely exciting. A favorite part of my job. Definitely championships and award ceremonies, graduations. Those things are, very exciting. But being able to provide what I talked about a little earlier, those positive student athlete experiences, that's the favorite part of my job, to be able to go to schools and, surprise student athletes with scholarships, to be able to attend spirit weeks and go to games of our rival schools where they're wearing the different colors or they're dressing up. That's really the fun part of my job that I really enjoy.
Great. Let's finish up with a couple of questions here, Tammie. The first being, you've got two suggestions for a brand new athletic administrator, and they need to follow Tammie's suggestions in order to become a success. What would your two suggestions be?
It would definitely be find a mentor, find somebody who you like their style as an administrator, you like the program that they've built, and follow, not necessarily follow in their footsteps, but find the things that they did that you like, and even find the things that they did that maybe you didn't like, because you can learn a whole lot more, I feel like, sometimes from failures than you can successes. And then always ask questions. Sometimes I feel like our younger generation, they're afraid to ask questions. It's kind of like, they have to know it all and have all the answers. But ask questions to everyone, through your principal, your direct report, other athletic directors, older athletic directors, younger athletic directors, retired athletic directors. Just ask those questions. So I would say that the top two things would definitely be find a good mentor, find several mentors. We try to assign new ADs a mentor in our county. And I try to make sure that they're paired up with somebody who's not their buddy, right? Because they're going to call their buddy anyway to get advice from them. But I try to pair them with somebody that maybe they don't know, and maybe somebody that complements them. Maybe if somebody's doesn't have a lot of game day management experience, then I'll pair them with somebody who is really good at that, or vice versa. But younger ADs really need to feel more confident in asking questions, and getting involved in their associations, like their state associations and national associations as well.
Great advice. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll finish with this. Tammie, what question should I have asked you that I failed to ask you?
How many days I have until retirement?
Okay, well then, how many days is it?
Well, it's right now, it's 2 years. I don't know the exact day, 700 and something days. But I tell everybody it's 2 years or one really, really bad day.
Perfect. Yeah. So you've got that card in your back pocket and you're ready to play it, and then you'll be done.
That's right.
That is great. Thank you. That wraps it up for this edition of the UIAAA Connection. Again, our special guest today has been Tammie Talley, Certified Athletic Administrator, the Director of Athletics at Duval County Public Schools, and the Secretary of the FIAAA. Tammie, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
You bet. For our listeners, we hope you tune in again next week for another edition of the UIAAA Connection.